Greetings, everyone, and thank you for stopping by for another video of Politics of Deception. And in this video, we're going to talk about the Executive Order 14176, which is the declassification of records concerning the assassinations of former President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So this was Trump signed this executive order um, on January 28th of 2025 when Trump signed this order. And let me read what this executive order is pertains to. So, whereas the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963, Senator Robert F. Kennedy on June 5th, 1968, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on April 4th, 1968, stand as some of the most defining and tragic events in modern American history, the impacts of which resonate not only in the United States but around the world. These killings marked a profound shift in the American political and social landscape, sparking national grief, widespread and a re-evaluation of trust in governmental institutions. The aftershocks of these assassinations reverberated through generations, altering the trajectory of the nation's history and influencing global political in the decades that followed. These events remain central to the identity of the United States and continue to be a source of deep inquiry and debate.
58 years after the assassination of JFK, nearly 1,500 confidential documents now released, many on Lee Harvey Oswald and what they revealed. Here's Terry Moran.
58 years from that fateful day in Dallas, and today, new clues, new questions. Among the documents released today, CIA memos discussing Lee Harvey Oswald's trips to the Soviet and Cuban embassies in Mexico City months before President Kennedy was killed. One of those CIA memos, written the day after the assassination, says Oswald communicated with an identified KGB officer while at the Soviet embassy that September. Oswald, who was married to a Russian, was trying to get visas to move to Russia. Another new document, a tip from a U.S. official in Australia 2 days after the assassination. An anonymous call to the embassy from a man claiming to be a chauffeur for Soviet diplomats who said the Soviets had probably financed the assassination. The memo noting a similar call had been made a year prior. The documents show that American officials in Australia dismissed both calls as crank calls. The National Archives say the vast majority of documents related to the JFK assassination have been released, but not all. And President Biden has ordered a review of thousands of more documents kept secret for decades for release next year. David?
All of it fascinating. Terry, thank you.
Senator Robert F. Kennedy, who won the California primary last night, had just completed making his victory speech in the ballroom of the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. He then started to move out to return to his suite when he was shot. Let's pick it up now. We'll review it with the closing portion of the senator's victory statement.
So I thank all of you who made this possible this evening, all of the effort that you made, and all of the people whose names I haven't mentioned, but who did all of the work at the precinct level, who got out the vote, who did all of the effort, brought forth all of the effort that's required. I was a campaign manager 8 years ago. I know what a difference that kind of an effort and that kind of commitment makes. So I thank all of you, those of you who are here. Mayor Yorty has just sent me a message that we've been here too long already. So my thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there. Thank you very much.
Now that was the last public statement by the senator, made as he learned the news of his victory in California. Coming after his defeat in Oregon by Senator McCarthy, it was, of course, a badly needed victory. And the senator had campaigned extensively and very vigorously. He changed his campaign tactics and agreed to a debate with Senator McCarthy that was held last Saturday night in San Francisco. He goes out of sight now as he begins to make his way down off that platform and into the kitchen, heading for the kitchen, where, unbeknownst to anybody at this time, the assailant was there, waiting for him. And the crowd begins to break up. The cheers, of course, start. You'll be able to hear that first shot in just a moment. As you will see, very few people had any understanding of what it meant.
Hey, wait. Hey, I want to hear really loud.
There it is. That was the first shot. The crowd continues to move away, heading for the doors there of the ballroom. This was at 12:15 Pacific time, 3:15 on the East Coast. As the first screams, somebody has realized what has taken place. Listen for the other shots. Watch this young girl put her hand to her face. You can see the fantastic bewilderment. People jostling, trying to get up, get a look. At this point, as our cameras are focused here on the ballroom, the senator was on the floor in the kitchen, and his assailant already had been seized. The pistol had been wrested from him, but not, of course, before all 8 rounds had been fired. The word had now, terrifying word, had spread through the ballroom. People knew that something terrible had happened, but there was still great confusion. Our Associate Director, Bill Weisel, who has now emerged from surgery, was also wounded in the abdomen. He's all right. There were several other persons injured, but none seriously.
Good evening. Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee. Police have issued an all-points bulletin for a well-dressed young white man seen running from the scene. Officers also reportedly chased and fired on a radio-equipped car containing 2 white men. Dr. King was standing on the balcony of a second-floor hotel room tonight when, according to a companion, a shot was fired from across the street. In the friend's words, the bullet exploded in his face. Police, who have been keeping a close watch over the Nobel Peace Prize winner because of Memphis' turbulent racial situation, were on the scene almost immediately. They rushed the 39-year-old Negro leader to a hospital where he died of a bullet wound in the neck.
Christian Leadership Coalition, they were actually facing bankruptcy in some months. So he was at a crossroads.
We stood on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel where the shot came from. The ambulance came and took him where I told him to. And we waited. And we waited. And we waited. We waited. Finally, and I don't know how this happened, but finally the word came. We never used the word death. They never said he died. Never said that. Never used. We said we lost him. We lost him. And here he is dying on a cold concrete floor on a cheap motel. And they said, we will shoot this dreamer and see what happens to his dream. And the word comes loud and clear. Yes, unfortunately, you can kill the dreamer. But no, absolutely no. You cannot kill the dream. The dream is still alive.